Hello everyone and welcome to this week's After Effects plugin tutorial. In this one I'm going to be going over something that's much lesser known in the community, and that is about artisan plugins. Now these are essentially part of After Effects general plugins, but also control how After Effects renders 3D in the program. So if you think about the classic built-in 3D look of After Effects, that is the classic 3D render Artisan. There's also a Cinema 4D Artisan if you are directly linking to Cinema 4D and are trying to use their render engine. So today we're going to be looking at the Artisan example plugin that comes with the SDK. Just taking a brief look at Artisans in general, what they are, the future of them, and what they're capable of. Before we get started with this video, I do want to remind you down below, hit subscribe and the bell icon to be notified of new videos coming out twice weekly in the channel, and down in the description you can follow us on GitHub for coding updates, as well as Instagram for other live updates. If you're not already a member of our Discord server, make sure you come and join to get help with scripting, extensions, plugins, submit tutorial ideas, hang out with some of our very knowledgeable and awesome members, and much more. And if you'd like to help support us on YouTube, you can do so by becoming a member, supporter, premium supporter, or VIP. Link for that is in the description, and it comes with cool perks like Discord status, badges, and much more. And also check out the links down below for AE Scripts, Gumroad, and Adobe Exchange for some of the other cool tools and things I make. So like I said, this is going to be a brief look at Artisans because this subject goes very deep and is not necessarily documented well. So most of that deepness is all in the code, and you basically can look at things down to the level of casting and creating ray trace images. So let's just go ahead and take a look at the few pages the guide has to say about Artisans. It is, of course, underneath the After Effects general plugins section. If you are going to consider developing an Artisan plugin, you do want to discuss it with Adobe first, as this is something that will basically change the way After Effects works. The Artisan API exposes function hooks necessary for a plugin to provide rendered output of 3D layers. Taking over completely from After Effects, which still handles all the 2D layers, there can only be one artisan per composition, chosen within composition settings and the advanced dialog. So if we do open After Effects, say create a new project, and go inside advanced, it's actually inside of the 3D renderer section. Here the renderer is the current artisan that is running. This is how 3D things will be displayed in your program. As you can see, I can choose between Classic 3D, Cinema 4D, and Arty, which we'll build and take a look at in a second. You also have the option to have your own options for your renderer. If I select Cinema 4D or Classic Render and click on Options, the various options are going to be different. With Classic 3D, it's going to give me the sort of texture size options, and with Cinema 4D, it gives me quality options. And of course, there's also an About section which you can control as well. As you can see with Arty, it's just a simple alert box with simple text in here. So that's how we can actually change the artisan that's currently running for the given composition. Artisans render the 3D environment, asking After Effects for information about each element in the composition. As you might guess, this is a vast and tedious process. This API is not recommended for anyone without a strong need to override After Effects' 3D rendering. Artisans may share information with effects written to communicate with them, but effects may not initialize or initiate this communication. Many of the suites used by Artisans require a rendering context, which is generated only after all effects have been applied to the layer. So essentially what this is all saying is Artisans are what control how 3D things look in After Effects. They are controlling the actual 3D environment from which, you have various layers in Z space and cameras and lights and all the 3D kind of things you can have. All the settings which actually generate what that looks like are within Artisans. And there's also an extra thing called interactive artisans. These differ from standard artisans in that they handle all layers in a composition, not just those which the user has made 3D. So this could probably be included for, this might just mean 2D layers, but I also wonder if it means for things like null objects and other things, if that will affect it as well. And they will only ever be called upon for on-screen display, never for rendered final output. So rendering calls fall through to the default artisan. And then after that, there is in chapter 71 of the guide, artisan data types. This is like a whole nother section of its own and is basically the rest of all you can learn about artisans besides looking at the example. So we can read a few more notes that might give us some tips and ideas about artisans. An artisan is nearly an application unto itself because we realized early in the After Effects 5.0, in the After Effects 5.0, typo, fix that. There are many ways to approach the problems inherent in 3D rendering, intersections and shading, for example. We provided an API with which we and third parties, yes, we do use our own APIs, could implement any 3D rendering scheme desired. After Effects is not a 3D modeling application. Users work in a responsive mode, switching to higher quality only for proofing or final output. Consider providing at least two quality modes, one for layout and another for final output. Be conscious of render time in low quality mode. And then finally, you also have to register an artisan. An artisan is an After Effects general plugin and has a single entry point. You'll see in the code that it's very similar if you've seen the tutorial for adding our own aegp, that it uses the same sort of register hooks, command hooks, and all of that. Artisans must also register their own function entry points and have a special callback for this purpose. See aegp register artisan for more. And basically, you're going to see that artisans have their own sort of commands that call for things like rendering, updates, and all that, very similar to After Effects general plugins. And generally, they have these same kind of functions. They have a setup function, a global setup function, a set down function, a do or about function. These are very similar to the standard plugin things that you can set up to do like registration and about, setup instance, set down instance, flatten instance, do instance, and there's also like a render instance and things like that. And then you will see the rest of it is kind of yours to go and read about. We're going to be basically, to create the artisan itself, which we're about to do, we basically are going to be using aegp methods and functions to get access to things in our composition. And because we have access to those things, that's how we end up choosing how we can get into the nitty-gritty and rendering those in a 3D space. So if you haven't already, you can go into the aegp examples and load up the Arty project to take a little look at how artisans work. And before I get into the code, I do want to mention one more thing before I forget, and that is I have seen some things on the forums and in various places saying that artisans may not be supported forever. I don't know what the status of that is, but it's still very interesting that we can take a look at the inner workings of After Effects and at current time modify them. So we're going to start looking at arty.cpp, and you're going to see that this is basically 2,000 lines of code. And if we go to the very bottom, you can see create ray, transform ray. These are the rays, like ray tracing, ray casting. These are individual beams of light which are being calculated in each of these functions. So if we create a ray, what we have is basically two 4D points, and that ray is equal to from one point to another, and that's represented by this ray object. Point 1 is equal to our incoming point 0, and point 2 or point 1 is equal to our incoming point 1. So these are the actual constructors, and we can do transformations of our rays as well. We have transformations for points, things set up for multiplying matrices, inverting matrices, transposing matrices. So there's actually quite a few useful functions in here, not only to understand how the different data types that you're not maybe familiar with work in the After Effects SDK, but also how these could be some useful like library type functions like, oh, I need to translate my matrix, I will go ahead and use this. And most of this arty.cpp file is full of just these useful functions. But if you do find it, you might be able to find the entry point function. If you remember After Effects general plugins, this is where we sort of initialize our aegp. So we have a whole bunch of versioning stuffs and setting up this API version and artisan versions. These are probably very specific to artisans themselves. And remember, I don't know as much about artisans as the next person, but I do know enough to sort of look through them and understand what's going on under the hood. And eventually we'll get into making them as well. But a lot of this is just setup that you kind of have to copy and paste yourself, like all this versioning stuff, which API and artisan version we're dealing with. We set up a match name and an artisan name, which we use the string copy from our suites into these enumerations here. And then here's where we kind of have our main entry point function. In other types of plugins, this is usually under something like effect main. So for example, in effect plugins, we have command about, command global setup, command param setup, command render. We have the same kind of things in this Artisan. Here are all of our types of functions. We have a do instance dialog, a flatten instance, frame set down, frame setup, do about, set down, setup, render, setup instance, set down instance, and query. These are basically all of the things that we can do. And if we actually right click on, say, RD render, peek the definition, these are actual functions we can go now check out and see how, for example, RD does, how does it render? How does it then build a camera, build a scene? And we can start diving in and see how each sort of step goes deeper and deeper into ultimately, setting up this entire 3D space. So after we've tried all of these entry functions, the next thing we do is basically just do the standard registration that we read about in the guide. It said we have to register our artisan, so we were making sure that we do that here. And then we also have to register a death hook for when the artisan is disabled or dead, basically. So these guys here are really just calling themselves. This is where we can then branch out and take a look at everything. So let's do that. First, let's go to the render function. That's kind of the most interesting thing about this whole sort of space is how do we render 3D space, and what does that look like in terms of what we already know with After Effects plugins. So if we look inside our render here, we can first see that we have just normal setup of variables. We have some mem handles. These are basically just placeholders for aegp data. And then we first build the camera. So let's go ahead and see what does it mean to build a camera. So we can right click, peak definition, and how do we build a camera? Well, first you can see we have a ton of reference to canvas suites, and this will give us a comp to render, downsample factor, the render time, a camera, and whatever an ROI is, probably not return on investment. And then we also end up creating a camera layer. And all this is extremely organized. So like when we're going to create a camera layer, we're really ultimately creating an aegp camera. We can go back into build camera here, and it's very interesting to just keep diving in, looking at all this stuff. So basically we have these functions which are setups of multiple functions which build up things. So we build a scene, we paint, and we dispose of a scene, and we dispose of a camera. What does building a scene look like after we've confirmed our camera is valid? We set up a new mem handle for our scene data. We get a composition to render. That's good. We create a list of layer contexts, or in this case, layers to render. We build lights. We get some layers. We set up the layers. We add a polygon to the scene. This could be a number of things. This could be maybe a shape layer, or it could be the actual bounding box by which the image is sort of projected into. If we actually look at it here, we have some layer flags. You can see it just keeps going deeper and deeper, and this does get very detailed very quick. So in this case, we're getting actual values of our layer time. We're getting the 3D values of the specular intensity, diffuse coefficient, and ambient coefficient. So part of the process of adding a polygon to the scene is getting these 3D layer values of the shininess and all of those values to make sure that we can then, I guess, build the polygon. That must be the ultimate function which creates it from scratch. Let's see. We won't dive too deep, but we have all these properties of a polygon, including their normals, their positions. Get polygon texture. This gets the source layer size, a render texture, and then does a whole bunch of things with the coordinates. So this must be the final positioning and texturing of a layer in 3D space. But I think that does enough deep diving. I just wanted to go over the basic general way you can start looking through it. You can start at the entry point function. Then you can go into, say, RD render or any of these other ones, but render is usually the most juiciest because you're seeing how things are actually being rendered rather than all of the memory setup and all of that. And then you can see how it builds the camera, how it builds the scene, and some of these get so detailed they go all the way down to things like creating rays of light. And you can have control over this. If you wanted to, you could say, actually, based on the input, I want my ray of light to be maybe half of the length that it should be. And obviously we get an error in this case because of variable differences. But basically, we can go in and start adjusting these small little changes and run it. Obviously using a 3D setup, that is kind of the caveat. To see these changes, you need to have some kind of 3D setup or 3D composition, and then you can see how minor changes in the code that you make end up affecting your image, and from there start building up a knowledge of how this very complicated Artisan After Effects general plugin space works. And that's going to do it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, hit the thumbs up button. Down below, hit subscribe and the bell icon to be notified of new videos coming out twice weekly in the channel. And down in the description, you can follow us on GitHub for coding updates, as well as Instagram for other live updates. If you're not already a member of our Discord server, make sure you come and join to help with scripting, extensions, plugins, submit tutorial ideas, hang out with some of our awesome members, and much more. And if you'd like to help support us financially and get cool perks, you can become a member, supporter, premium supporter, or VIP. Link for that is in the description, where you can also find other links to things like AE Scripts, Gumroad, and Adobe Exchange for other stuff I create. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time.